Feature win as well. The number 30 of the legendary Thunder Anderson Jr. and Owen White, former champion here, will roll off shotgun on the field. 6 laps of scheduled distance. We're off and running. And into turns 1 and 2 to go. Jason Kreitz has that number 1 spot, but here comes the man that's been on fire in this class. Joey Foster looking to the outside, but Derek Colbert right there behind him. As they head through turns 3 and 4, you see the wall has been extended to the entrance at turns 3 and 4 now, making it a little easier to get on or to get off of the speedway to head to pit road. And of course our lap counter showing you where the top 5 are running, and of course their lap times as well as the amount of laps we have in each race. Joey Foster putting it to good use right now as he leads lap number 1 as they head through turns 3 and 4. And we've got the Anderson number 30 in a cloud of smoke.
Number 68 of Bennett White, 6 of Owen White, side by side. They are first cousins driving side. Number 2, 14 of Jason Grace, 3 of Pete Tsunami, last week's winner, and the 12 of Joe Barnes, as we go back into green for our first Bandit qualifying heat race.
Now that 14 car went to victory lane in the Bandit.
Those one-way radios work wonders.
Oh yes, they do, trust me. They're aggravating as a driver, but in any event, they do work well. Green flag has returned to the speedway, and we get a little better restart that time as Derek Colbert kind of got the big jump coming off of turn 4. Last restart that was waved off. But Joey Foster is in command of it, and Bill, he has been in command of this field all season long. We've had 13 races for the Bandits in 2010. He has won 9 of them, and that's just incredible.
3-round battle for second. Derek Colbert trying to hold off Bennett White and Owen White in the number 6, Bennett White in the 68. Both of them pouring on the inside of Derek Colbert in the 79. Still a 3-car battle for the runner-up spot. Pete Tsunami in the number 3. Last week's winner comes in and joins us. So now we have a 4-car battle for the runner-up spot while Joey Foster leads him off turn 4.
A site he's been very familiar with in 2010. With 2 more laps to go as our brand new scoring clock shows us, and Joey Foster does lead the way, but Bennett White is battling down on the inside of Derek Colbert down the back straightaway, and Colbert is able to fight him off into turns 3 and 4, and Bennett White still sticking with that low line. Pete Tsunami right there with him. Owen White might try to make it 3 deep as they run down the front stretch of the white flag lap.
Well, this is going to get good on the final lap. Joey Foster, he's checked out on the field. The battle I'm watching is for second. 4 cars. Bennett White pulls ahead of Derek Colbert down the backstretch. The final time, Colbert is going to muscle up around the outside as they go into 3 and 4. It's side by side, 4 cars battling for second spot. Joey Foster gets the win. Here comes the battle for second.
Bennett White, Derek Colbert, Pete Tsunami, and Owen White. From what I saw, that's 2nd through 5th. Jason Kreitz.
Trevor Jones, former Bandit driver, taking a couple of years off. Brand new race car. He is back in action. Trevor Jones completes the field as we go green out of turn 4.
And he made a couple of starts at Cornwall already this year, so he's had a few laps under his belt. Glad to have Trevor back with us once again as we're under green and we're back to 3 wide action in turns 1 and 2, but Corey Castell pulls away from Nolan Swamp down the backstretch as they straighten out the 2x2. All this happening behind Scott Muir as Corey Castell digging down low. Nolan Swamp on the top side. Daryl Mitchell diving down low. He's looking to get 3rd from Swamp, and he will do so as the black flag comes out for Brad Fish. And Bill, you see the trail that he has left all the way around this speedway, a little bit of liquid.
Trailing some moisture out of the rear end of the car. And once again, we got a 3-wide battle for second. Well, now it's a 2-car battle. Daryl Mitchell and Nolan Swamp side by side for second. Mitchell in the red 37 runs down low, gets a little sideways. The car's going to dart up the track. He reins it back in, but he's going to drop from 2nd to 4th. Nolan Swamp takes 2nd. Corey Castell up to 3rd. Daryl Mitchell drops to 4th. Scott Moore leads the way in this second Bandit heat race.
And Brad Finch does take the B8R pit side, and we still stay green. We're going to have a battle for the lead shaping up here. Speaking of green cars, Nolan Swamp's got that green machine hooked up to the bottom. Scott Muir is right about the middle side of the racetrack, and a great battle going on for 3rd and 4th. Corey Castell using the top side. Daryl Mitchell down low. Mitchell with a feature win this year, his first ever win in a stock car. Of course, he won many features and titles in ranks. I'll tell you what, that was a feel-good story of the year of the Bandits to see Daryl Mitchell pull that win off a couple of weeks ago.
And a very shy, very nice, quiet young man, always smiles, doesn't have a lot to say in the pit area, lets us driving to the speaking farm, and boy, has he done it this year with some great runs in that feature win a couple of weeks ago.
He talked a lot when you interviewed him on the microphone. He was emotional, very speechless, but that's what happens when you win your first race, and a big deal here like it is at Mohawk to win here. And a battle for the lead shaping up, and it's going to be a dandy of a heat race right here as they come off of turn number 4. Nolan Swamp wants it. He's down on the bottom. White flag is out. Scott Mayer does take the lead, though, as they hit their turns 1 and 2 and shuts the door on Swamp as they go into turn number 2.
Final time down the back stretch. Nolan Swamp goes up alongside Scott Mayer. Mayer has the advantage as they go swinging into turn number 3. Mayer wants the high line, Swamp the low line. Side by side, there is contact out of turn 4. Mayer dives high, Swamp down low, drag race to the finish line. Scott Mayer will get the win by a bumper. Nolan Swamp finishes second. So Scott Mayer, despite getting a little bit of help in 3 and 4, holds on and grabs the win in this second 358 modified heat race.
Helm and Legros bring him down the front straightaway. Green flag does fly, and we almost four line on the front stretch, but Dale Plank thought better of it. Settles in behind Delorme, but it's Ryan Helm, your early leader. 4-time track champion Mike Pirani right there behind him in second. Legros, Delorme, and now you're defending Mr. Dirt Car 358 champion Dale Plank has gone from 8th all the way up to 5th in lap number 1.
Bumping and jostling in that first lap as everybody looks for a lane. Pirani up to the top spot. Helm drops to second. Legros runs third. Side-by-side battle for fourth between Delorme and Plank. Plank will get the spot going into turn 3 as they come out to complete lap number 2.
As they work in turns 1 and 2, Pirani's got that 35 hooked up right down low. That's where he's at his best when he gets to that bottom side of the speedway. He is tough to beat out there. Ryan Helm having a great run up to that runner-up spot. Here comes Dale Plank, the natural, down on the bottom side of the speedway. Picking off that number 3 spot from Legros, and he is not done yet. He dives down low on Ryan Helm. He'll pick off the number 2 spot as they head down the back straightaway. The natural is gone from the back of the field all the way up to the runner-up spot. Just before halfway here, 4 laps are complete. 6 more remain. And Dale Plank, I'll tell you what, Bill, he is on the charge and flying around this speedway.
Plank with a feature win here at Mohawk has had great runs throughout the dirt circuit this year. Now he has Mike Pirani in his sights. Halfway down, 5 down and 5 to go. 5 laps to reel in Mike Pirani in the battle for the top spot. Dale Legros and Ryan Helm now going to be challenged by Roy Delorme for the 3rd spot as Delorme dives to the inside of Helm.
And so when Mike Pirani bobbled big time in turn number 4, that's allowing Dale Plank to close in, and you see him close about 3 car lengths in one corner. That car is bad fast right now, Bill, as they head through turns 1 and 2. They're side by side for the lead in turn 2.
Pirani shuts the door on Plank. He's not going to give up the top spot without a fight. You may say you may be the new guy in town, but I know my way around this track. Pirani runs the middle lane. Plank now swings high as they go into turn 4, dives down low into turn 1.
Plank definitely does have the faster of the 2 cars, but Pirani does have the experience around this speedway. Dale Plank won his first ever Mohawk feature back in 2004 in the Lazur machine. Now driving this Kerry Tarrant's own machine up to that 2nd spot, a feature win on May the 7th. He's back after him again in turn 2.
Great battle up front for your first modified heat race. Pirani and Plank running 1 and 2. Roy Delorme settles into 3rd. Dale Legros 4th. Perry Francis up to 5th. Side by side for the lead as the white flag flies.
I'll tell you what, Plank is trying to bottom, and Mike Pirani will not move off of it. That outside groove just has not worked itself in yet, or else Plank would be up there flying around the top side. He might try something here in turns 3 and 4. Checkered flag is out this time by Pirani. Will hold off. You're defending 358 Mr. Dirt Car champion. Plank gets the runner-up. Delorme, Francis, and the 71 of Legros completes the top 5. Todd Stone qualifying heat number 2. Preston Forbes, Gardner Stone on the front row. We're under green, and I tell you what, Clayton Modak and Preston Forbes almost hooked bumpers on the front straight. They got it straightened out, but man, a tense movement at the drop of the green flag. 2 drivers with a lot of experience at this speedway. Gardner Stone and Jeff Sykes in 1st and 2nd right now, but the man right there behind him, 2 years ago, he claimed the track championship in the modified division. John Lazar right there in spot number 3. A little bit of a push in that car, but he gets it straightened out when he heads into turn 2. And your current point leader, Kerry Tarrant's down to the inside of Clayton Benedict. And Kerry Tarrant's had a great season this year, but who'd have thought he'd have a spectacular season this year and virtually running away with this track title?
And last time, Tim Fuller ran in John Lazar's team car. The guy in Victor Lane was indeed John Lazar. Tonight, Tim Fuller's in the backup car, and John Lazar looks really stout in the heat race. So a good home second for the Resort Racing team.
Well, he's hoping that Tim Stark's about 30th, so he has time to get away from him, because that's what happened last time they were here. But Gardner Stone in all this mess is still leading the way. John Lazor has closed the gap. Jeff Sykes right there with him in third. Harry Terrance dive bombs on Clayton Benedict. He's now fourth. Benedict falls to fifth. Todd Stone, Preston Forbes, and Clint Smith complete the rest of the field. We're going to have a battle for the top spot here very shortly, although I speak too soon as Jeff Sykes closes in on second.
Two former track champions running second and third, John Lazor and Jeff Sykes. Harry Terrance looking for his first career championship here at Mohawk. Cornwall champion runs in fourth, Clayton Benedict and Todd Stone. Stone coming off a great run a couple of weeks ago. Rounding out your top six as our second modified heat race just past the halfway point.
As they work down the front stretch into 1 and 2, it is Gardner Stone still leading the way. John Lazor still right behind him, though. He's been able to close the gap. I'm just looking at some of these cars right now, and it seems like some of them have tightened up big time. As you see Gardner Stone and John Lazor both pushing off turn number 4, rather. As Lazor digs down low, he tries it in a little bit deeper, and he'll get the number 1 spot as they head off turns 1 and 2 down the backstretch. So it's John Lazor, your new leader, as they head into turns 3 and 4 with Gardner Stone and Kerry Terrance completing your top 3. Jeff Sykes with a strong run early. He's fallen back to position number 4 now, and Clayton Benedict holding on to that number 5 spot with Gardner Stone in 6. Meanwhile, battle for that second spot starting to heat up as Kerry Terrance closed in big time on Gardner Stone through turns 3 and 4. Stone bobbles once again off at turn number 4. Here comes Kerry Terrance down on the inside of the white flag lap. Lazor has pretty much checked out on the rest of the field, but here comes Kerry Terrance in a bid for second, and he will get it as they head through turns 3 and 4 to the checkered flag. John Lazor, ill-handling race car and all, will take that checkered flag, and it'll be Kerry Terrance, Gardner Stone, Jeff Sykes, Clayton Benedict, your top 5. And I'll tell you what, a lot of these cars are looking very, very snug right now. What I mean,
23, Laurent Laudeser, 124, Pierre Dagenet, making his first start of the season, and the 3X of Derek Martin. So a bunch of former track champions in this one as well as the green flag drops.
And Billy Cook, the veteran out of all these drivers, leads the way. Ryan Jacobs on the high side. He's been getting quicker and quicker each and every week in that 73. Right now, Billy Cook does have the advantage, albeit for a moment, though, as Ryan Jacobs takes that car to the outside part of the speedway, and he will go to the number 1 spot as Billy Cook working from second. Here comes TJ, Tommy Jacques Jr. down on the inside. Pat O'Brien and Pierre the Snake Dagenet complete the top 5.
Roy Tarver and Laurent Laudeser getting very tight going into turn 3 as everybody's looking to find the perfect balance for their car. The cars are a handful. This track has been resurfaced just a week and a half ago. Everybody's still adjusting to the new lines, and we have Trevor Melvin Rush does a 360 on the back stretch. He does fire it back up. We are going to be able to avoid a caution so green.
Great move out there by Melvin Rush to keep it going here. And I'll tell you what, Ryan Jacobs was glad to see that as he still holds on to that lead. Tommy Jacques Jr. holding on to second. Pat O'Brien has crawled to position number 3. Good run for Billy Cook now in 4th. Here comes Laurent Laudeser digging down to the inside, and Laudeser glad to have him back. Remember the last time he was here, turned over in one of our features, came back the next feature the same night, and finished 3rd. So Laudeser glad to be back in Mohawk.
Ryan Jacobs leads Tom Jock Jr. and Pat Flying O'Brien. Laurent Laudeser gets by Billy Cook for 4th at the halfway point. Pierre Dagenet runs in 6th spot. He now sets the sights on Billy Cook. Good battle for the top 5. Roy Tarbo runs 7th.
And Dagenet down on the inside picks off that number 5 spot. Lee out of battle for the top spot, though, as Tommy Jacques Jr. shows the wheels on Ryan Jacobs into turns 1 and 2. He's digging down low again off corner number 2. They race down into turns 3 and 4, this time side by side through turn number 4. And Tommy Jacques Jr. will pick off that lead. What a move by TJ to get the lead.
TJ having an outstanding season, a whole bunch of top 5s this year. Pat O'Brien now runs out on Ryan Jacobs with a battle for second. O'Brien dives low into turn number 3. O'Brien will get the spot as Jacobs' car pushes up the track yet again. O'Brien up to the runner-up spot, now sets his sights on Tom Jock Jr.
2 more laps to go from Austin Swamp, and Tommy Jacques Jr. would love nothing better than to put this car in a victory lane, at least in a qualifying heat right now. And he has got it hooked up to the bottom side of the speedway. Pat O'Brien lifts up the left front wheel in the air for the runner-up spot. White flag in the air, Bill, and Ryan Jacobs hanging on to that 3rd spot. A great run for him as well.
Final time around Tom Jock Jr. in control. Pat O'Brien simply running out of time as they come on a turn number 4. Winning your third Frenchy Chevrolet Dirt Car 358 heat race. Tom Jock Jr. gets the win. Pat O'Brien second. Ryan Jacobs third. Laudicer, Pierre Dagenet round out your top 5. With Billy Cook, Roy Turbo, and Melvin Rush.
Glad to have Steve with us once again. 7 cars set to do battle. We're under green, and into turn 1 and 2 they go. Jenna David does have that top spot. Christian Smoke has been getting better and better each and every week. He jumps into that number 9 machine. He holds on to that number 2 spot. Here comes Steve Plank down on the inside. Of course, Steve ran with us in a 358 car out of the Reserve stable, and last year's Lucas Oil Racing did very, very well against the small blocks. Now got the Sportsman car, 3rd place run last week in that 88, holding on to that 4th spot. Sheldon Hoodworth has lost a couple of spots already. He is back to 5th. Steve Barber right there behind him with Sean Burke completing your field, but Christian Smoke with a big move on the outside. He'll pick off the lead as they head into turns 1 and 2, with Jenna David right there behind him in 2nd. Jenna doing a great job as well. Going to be almost 3 wide for 3rd on the backstretch, but Sheldon Hoodworth makes short work of that. He's going to go up to 3rd. Jenna David right there in front of him. Sheldon's going to dive down to the inside. He'll pick off the 2nd spot, so Sheldon going from 5th to 2nd in about a half a lap here. And with 3 laps up on the board, Christian Smoke does have the top spot all to himself. About a quarter straightaway back is Sheldon Hoodworth in that runner-up spot, and then everybody's in 3rd. We got Jenna David, Steve Plank, Tom Benedict, side by side through turns 1 and 2, and Steve Plank's going to go to the top side. He's been running very, very well at Skyline and I-88 as well in that same... one of his own Sportsman cars doing very well, winning a bunch of races down that way, and he right now runs 3rd as they head through turns 1 and 2 and down the backstretch. Christian Smoke is all by himself, but Sheldon Hoodworth starting to close the gap just a little bit here as they run down the backstretch into 3 and 4. Steve Plank holding on to 3rd. Jenna David spins on the backstretch, and she'll keep it going as Steve Barber is now crawled from last all the way up to the number 4 spot. Sean Burke completes your top 5 in 5th. With 2 more laps to go, Tom Benedict and David complete the rest of the field. But it's all Christian Smoke right now as he took the lead at about lap number 2 and has held it ever since. White flag is in the air. Smoke is your leader, followed by Sheldon Hoodworth, who after last week struggled mightily out there in that 27, but he's got it hooked up tonight. He's on the bottom side of the speedway looking to get that lead. Christian Smoke pushing up the racetrack just a little bit, and Hogarth will close in, but that's about as far as he'll get. Checkered flag will fly for Christian Smoke. Sheldon Hogarth, Steve Plank, Steve Barber, and the 28 of Sean Burke complete your
milestone tonight. All-time win season record here at Mohawk International Raceway for the Dirt Sportsman. Green flag is in the air. Brad Winters goes to the top spot. Josh Jock runs 2nd. Travis back in the 30th. Brett Kelsey runs side by side. Then behind them, the Orlando Chris Robbie makes it 3 wide down the backstretch. Hold your breath for the Sportsman division.
And I tell you what, he is wanting to get to the front of this field in a quick way. 3 wide into turns 3 and 4. Now they've straightened it out to 2 wide, but all this happening behind your leader, Brad Winters, who's having a stout season in that number 92 as he heads down the backstretch. He's opened up almost a quarter straightaway lead on Josh Jock, who has been getting better and better each and every week as he steps into that 03 car.
And Brad Winters in the SUNY Canton ride has something very much to look forward to. If you remember, the Dirt Sportsman Tour race was rained out back in June. It has been added to the racing card on Friday night, September the 17th, with the Mr. Dirt Car 358 series. So the Dirt Car Championship run, part of the big SUNY Canton weekend of racing, is sponsoring the main event on that weekend, as now the Dirt Car Championship race will be run on Friday, September the 17th.
And we're glad we got that Sportsman race rescheduled for that weekend, which makes that weekend for us even better as the summer months wind down, and so does the racing season. But Brad Winters looking to wind down the rest of this heat race in a short way as he is running away from everybody here, as Robbie Izard having all sorts of issues with that 51, but he keeps it straight down the front stretch. Brad Winters your leader off turn number 4. Pushes up way high on the front stretch though, Bill, but Brent Kelsey's got his hands full.
You know, I was just thinking about Brent Kelsey holding on to 2nd. The car is bouncing and bobbing and weaving all over the track. He's really got his hands full, but is also doing an admirable job holding off Chris Robbie and Dylan Evil in the battle for 2nd. Brent Kelsey, rookie in the Sportsman division, running with the best of the best. with Chris Robbie and Dylan Evoy right in his back bumper.
Talked to Brent Kelsey just after Cornwall a couple of weeks ago, and he pushes up the track big time. That's going to allow Robbie to get that runner-up spot. That may be all he can get here as the white flag comes out as Brad Winters is checked out on everybody, but here comes Dylan Evoy, his closest competitor all season long. But I did talk to Kelsey a couple of weeks ago in Cornwall, and he said the difference is Robbie and I, he's run 3 races, I've run 20 in this class, so we're learning every step of the way for sure. As Brad Winters comes off of turn 4, he'll get the win in the number 92. Robbie, Evoy, Brent Kelsey, and Travis Beck. We talked a lot about him earlier.
It's time to get down and dirty with the Outlaws as they work to turn number 4. Our first of 3 heat events is coming up to speed. The green flag is in the air and we're off and running. Top flag had the advantage, but Ricky Elliott to the outside with a power move. Trailblazers back on the inside, they're 3 wide for third. Francis will take over the number 3 spot. Clint Smith the 4th. Lap number 1's going to go to Trevor. Frank Farmer with Ricky Elliott, Steve Francis, Clint Smith, Josh Richards, Ron Davies. Down the backstretch, Richards now starting to make a move on the canyon. First battle step to the outside now with Barlow. Richards with a power move to the inside and Clint Smith at first foot. Chub Frank trying to run around hard home heat number 1. Richards with a big move out of turn 2 will take the number 4 spot away from Clint Smith. Set of seats on Steve Francis. Chubb's showing the way. That time at 15:9:36. The track still lightning fast. Ricky Elliott holding down 2nd. Francis 3rd. Richards 4th. Catnett is 5th. Ron Davies the 6th. And final transfer spot. Disappointing run for Greg Satterley in the number 22. Now Francis is cut. The number 2 of Ricky Elliott. The top 2 finishers in each heat tomorrow night will redraw their starting spots in the 100-lap main event. Francis trying to get to that redraw. Halfway next time down, Francis still putting the pressure on the toe of Ricky Elliott. Josh Richards all the while is rolling in the battle for 2nd. Torrance starting to find his groove, working on Greg Satterley to move up a spot. Halfway, 6 in on 6 to go in heat number 1. Chub Frank is dialed in right now. Ricky Elliott over the hurdle, all advances of Steve Francis, but now Francis starting to mount a challenge to the inside in turn number 3. 7 laps go up on the scoreboard for the Richards still poised to strike. Greg Satterley carrying Torrance. Battling up the back. Torrance with a big move. He'll get around the 22 of Greg Satterley and move up 1 spot. 4 laps to go for Trevor. Ricky Elliott still in that redraw spot right now with Francis, doing everything he possibly can to gain touch with him, but losing some real estate on that turn. 3 to go for Trevor as he winds it up out of turn number 4. Francis again will try to figure out the mystery of Ricky Elliott as he works down the back straight into turn number 3. The 2 to go signal given, white flag the next time back for Chubb. 1.5-second lead for Chubb Frank over Ricky Elliott. Down the back stretch already into 3 and 4. Chubb will see the white flag. We've got 1 to go. Torrance is not done. He's going to work on Ron Davies to try and get another transfer spot. He's got 1 lap to go. Gary Torrance is going to make his move. Checkered flag is going to leave. Going to the main event and the way down the inside of Chubb Frank. But Trevor Ricky Elliott goes to the lead off. Steve Francis is in the show along with Josh Richards, Clint Smith. Here they come out for a final transfer spot. It's going to be Ron Davies. Torrance with 12 laps to get it done. The top 2 go to the redraw. Top 6 go to the battle at Eastern Door. It's up to Ackert and McCready to bring him up to speed. They hit the firing line, green in the air. There we go. Ackert with a great move down low. He is the bottom last now rolling race to get a number 2 spot. He'll lead McCready in his dust on the back stretch, and Howard, the 18-year-old, takes over 3rd. Kingfield and Faggy now. He'll work on late and right for the number 5 spot. He'll get that done out of turn 4. Now it's Clinton all over the 18-year-old. They got crossed up to go straightened out, and Larry White, the 17-year-old, working his way through the field in the 6th and final transfer spot early. It's Rick Ackert, Tim McCready, Austin Hubberstein, Clinton, and possibly between Larry Wayne and Wes King for the final transfer spot. Murphy on the outside looking in along with Dan Stone and Michael Trapp. Again, the battle for the number 5 spot now belongs to Russell King. He'll put Lightning Larry back to 6, but Larry back to the inside. Rick Eckert in another area code right now as he leaves McCarty and Hubbard in his dust. But it's been the 56 of King and the 99 of Larry Wayne battling for the number 5 spot. 6 cars advance. Martha and Stone are starting to make up ground now. And Austin Hubbard broke traction and McCready left him by himself to fund now for the 3rd spot as Shane Clanton is going to work on the bottom. Hubbard's handling package going the way quietly. And the 25 of Clanton is poised to strike. Halfway this time for Rick Eckert. 6 in and 6 to go as Michael Trapp will be getting company in the form of Rick Eckert. Todd Stone just closed. Peter Murphy still with a lot of time to go. 6 and 6 remaining. Needs to catch the 99 and 56. Have a shot at getting in the easy way. Eckert now just about a lap away from getting on the 70s road deck lid. 5 laps to go and Trapp is going to be in the attack. Eckert knocked on the door and said, Michael, there's a race going on. You're about to be in it. Here we come. To the inside goes Eckert. Tries to put the 70 lap down. McCarty rides in that number 2 and final redraw spot. Austin Hubbard still close to him in 3rd. Shane Clanton in 4th. Larry Wayne 5th. In the hot seat, it's Russell King in 56 with 4 to go. Todd Stone a half a straightaway behind. The 2 to go signaling a comeback by Rick Eckert. Going off into the New York night as Michael Trapp allows all the goals to get by him up on the high side. White flag the next time by for Rick Eckert and Austin Hubbard. Messed around, put into the forward to try and catch McCready and get in that redraw spot. Not out of the question yet, but the turn 2 has been his bugaboo. Kearney has not been able to negotiate that at all. As Rick Eckert comes down for the right, one more time around turn 4, much better for Hubbard. Within 2 car lengths of T-Mac for the redraw spot. Turn 2 is the one he's got to stick, and this time much better. He'll have a shot at McCready. Out of turn number 4, winner of heat number 2, it'll be the 24 of Rick Eckert. Playing for 2nd. McCready's going to hold him off. Hubbard will settle for 3rd and go to the main event. Shane Clanton is 4th. Lightning Larry Wayne gets the 5th spot, risking the 3. 2 to the redraw, 6 to the main event. Out of 4 we come. Here we go, green and hour. Side by side in turns 1 and 2. Nobody giving up an inch for low on the bottom. Lanigan on the high side. Decker is taken 3rd away from Coffee. They stay with the road. Border in 3. Now Fuller drifted a little bit. Lanigan got a great run off the 4. Got Lanigan the winner. Lanigan will still Fuller in a fast way around as Fuller a big push here in turn number 1. It cost him a ton of distance and Billy Decker is poised to strike. Now reflection on 2nd and 3rd, 4 in the 19, the manual win of Decker. Vic Coffey, the 44X of Turbo, and the 99 Bob Boom Briggs will transfer spots. Joe George on the outside looking in early with 2 in and 10 to go. Good run right now for Turbo as he has been able to hold the number 5 spot, good enough to transfer. We'll see if he can make any advances on Vic Coffey or Billy Decker. Boom Briggs trying to catch that 44X machine. Lanigan has been the hottest driver on the tour as of late. Picked up a ton of points last night on Josh Richards and sits in the number 2 spot. Number 2 in career wins for the season. 5 for Lanigan, 6 for Richards. Dale Lanigan would like tomorrow night to tie Richards for the year for 6 wins and gain even more valuable outlaw points. 5 laps on the scoreboard. We're halfway next time by. Decker with a hand further in turn number 1. Vic Coffey poised to strike. Couldn't do nothing with him. It's Lanigan and 4 on redraw spots right now. McCartney is rolling on turn number 4. Good work on Billy Decker now for 3rd. We're halfway, 6 and 6 to go. It's all Lanigan all the time. But turn 4 is Saturday now in the number 2 and final redraw spot. Again, Vic Coffey high right and handsome out of turn number 4. Cannot close the gap on Billy Decker. Sitting in that sixth and final transfer spot, boom breaks in the 99 balls. Lanigan works lap 8, 4 to go for Darryl Lanigan. George will hear the roar of the cornet power plan of Darryl Lanigan before long as he is closing in on the 7th place car. 4 to go. Torgo signal and Lanigan comes back by. Tim Fuller solid in the number 2 spot, and now Billy Decker's put a little distance between himself and that 32-seat Coffee, and Torgo battled. He got sideways, gathered it up. Boom breaks, couldn't take advantage. Boom still sits on 6. White flag the next time by. Lanigan has caught George. Will tiptoe underneath down the back stretch and clear her in turn number 3. White flag coming in the air this time by 2 separate battles. Coffee and Decker for 3rd. Boom breaks on Turbo for 4th. Boom with a run to the outside of Turbo. Turbo shuts him down. Lanigan already down the back stretch and into turn number 3. Checkered flag is going to wave. Darryl Lanigan's going to win heat number 3. Tim Fuller is going to come home in that 2nd and final redraw spot. Firsting in 3rd, Billy Decker. Hold on to the big dogs as well with 32-set of Vic Coffee.
John Burke in the 28, set to do battle off turns 3 and 4. Green flag flies, and we are underway. Quickly into turns 1 and 2 they go, and Christian Smoke and Brad Winters side by side for the lead in turns 1 and 2, but it's going to be Winters winning this one out. 3-wide battle with Steve Plank, Chris Raby, and Sheldon Hoogworth in turn number 2, but they straighten that out rather quickly as Chris Raby goes to the top side. He's up to 4th already. He's diving down low on Christian Smoke for that number 3 spot as Dylan Evoy has moved to 2nd here. Meanwhile, Brad Winters still continues to lead the way in bold. Brad Winters put on a clinic in his heat race, trying to do the same thing here in the feature.
Winters has been shut out of the win column here at Mohawk, but he's been fast all year, consistently 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Now he's going to be challenged by the guy who's basically been 2nd place almost all season, the 83 of Dylan Evoy. Dylan Evoy, 1 feature win in the season, a whole ton of 2nd place finishes. He's running 2nd now and challenging Winters for the lead as here comes Chris Raby.
3rd spot he rides in right now, and Brad Winters does have a lot of tough company behind him with Dylan Evoy, who does have a couple of wins this year. He won one at Brockville earlier this season, and he picked up a win a little over a month and a half ago here in Mohawk as Chris Raby, who has won the last 6 in a row in the Sportsman class here in Mohawk. He dives down low, picks off the runner-up spot from Evoy as they work down the backstretch. Now he'll set his sights on Brad Winters for the number 1 spot, and Raby looking to go for that record here tonight. He comes off on turn 4 in the runner-up spot, but it's Winters your leader as we work in lap number 4.
Chris Raby has run down Brad Winters, but Winters is not going to be easy to pass. It's very rare that Winters has had a chance to be in front of Raby. Now he is in front. He's going to make that car 2, 3, maybe 4 lanes wide if he has to, because Winters wants to break into the win column in the worst way here at Mohawk.
And Raby looking at the top side of the speedway. He'll try to cut the corner off here in turn number 4. He gets the one he's looking for down on the bottom side of the speedway, and Raby goes up to the number 1 spot in lap number 7. Brad Winters trying to fight it back on the top side, though, as they head off of turn 2.
And Chris Raby vaults to the top spot, and now he is on pace to set an all-time dirt record, most Sportsman wins in a season. Winters runs 2nd, Dylan Evoy 3rd, Steve Plank runs in 4th in the number 88.
As they work the next straightaway, Chris Raby, this has been a familiar sight for him here in Mohawk in 2010. A huge lead on the field right now, about a straightaway back to Brad Winters, who's having his best run of the season in that SUNY Canton number 92. Halfway sign is out, 10 in, 10 more to go. Dylan Evoy, I'll tell you what, if Chris Raby hadn't showed up this year, it would have been Dylan Evoy's track title. He has run great every single week in that number 83 machine. Only 1 feature win to his credit, but I'll tell you what, he's having a good, solid, consistent year in the Ogilvy's number 83.
Sean Burke in the 03 of of Josh Jock getting together, working through turn 4 as they try to get underneath Robbie Izard. The leader, Chris Rowdy, goes around Jenna David. Jenna going a lap down. Rob Winter still trying to hold off Dylan Evoy. Evoy sees the line to the inside. Dives to the inside. Winter seems to bobble a little out of turn 2. They get together. And Evoy will take second. Rob Winter drops to third.
Yeah, and Winter's still back to that third spot, but Steve Plank, who has been running well at Skyline and 98 Speedway, is up to challenge for third here as we work in lap number 13. Sheldon Hogarth has cracked into the top 5. He's gotten by Steve Barber now. Barber falling to that 6th spot is Christian Smoke in 7th. Brent Kelsey with a great year so far in that number 8 spot right now in the 30. Then comes the number 1. Travis back in 9th, and Sean Burke completes the top 10 with Josh Jock and Robbie Izard, who's having all sorts of troubles in that 51. Gets loose in turn number 2. He'll straighten it out down the backstretch, but your leader off turn number 4 right now with 5 laps to go. 5 more remain. And Robbie looking to take it home here as Robbie Izard moves to the top side to get out of the way of the leaders. Meanwhile, Dylan Evoy has stretched his second place margin out to about a half straightaway on Brad Winters, who gets into Jenna David in turn number 2. They tangle together, and Robbie Izard is going to take evasive action and spin on the outside of the backstretch, but the caution flag does wave, Bill. This will tighten the field up as Dylan Evoy races at Brockville in the Sportsman class. About 10 different winners in this Sportsman class and heat races as well. Green flag flies once again. We're back underway, and Rabi still with those great restarts pulls away from Evoy by about 3 car lengths as they hit the back straightaway. Steve Barber is starting to close the gap into turns 3 and 4. He's on the back bumper of Steve Plank as they work down the front straightaway. Brent Kelsey has gotten by Sheldon Hogarth to take away that 5th spot. Hogarth falls to 6th. And Sheldon falling further back. He's get caught on the outside part of the speedway, and Christian Smoke gets by. Here comes Brad Winters. He's made up a lot of track time, and Jenna David coming back out on the speedway as well. 3 more to go for Robbie in turn number 1.
Chris Robbie trying to get by Jenna David with 2 to go. Dylan Evoy runs 2nd. Steve Plank runs 3rd. Brent Kelsey 4th. Steve Barber 5th. The 92 of Rob Winters in 6th spot back up on the speedway. And then the 9 of Christian Smoke, the 1 of Travis back, 27 of Hugworth. White flag is out. And of course, this is an unofficial running order. As coming out of turn number 4, breaking the all-time dirt sportsman win record, the other one of Chris Rowdy. Dylan Evoy 2nd, Steve Plank 3rd, Brent Kelsey 4th. Rob Winters advances to the 5th spot on the speedway. But there is some question about that one. As Chris Rowdy pulls into victory lane, Austin Swamp has the winner board and the checkered flag. And Tim Bolts, who's gotten to speak with Chris on many occasions this year, is going to just continue that conversation, seemingly on a weekly basis with Chris Rowdy down in Victory Lane.
There we go. He's probably the happiest I've ever seen him down at Victory Lane. Of course, tonight being a big night for him. He breaks the single season win record and makes it an even dozen here at Mohawk International Raceway. And he's coming out of the car. How about a round of applause for him? An even dozen for Chris Rowdy, win number 12 of 2010. And a little story behind this hat that he's got on here. I'll have to get him down in front and talk about this. Chris, you've had a spectacular year so far, and I got a question. This hat, there's a little bit of a story behind this. Why don't you tell everybody about it?
I watched PJ Peters there. His kids bought it for me and told me every time I go to Victory Lane I got to wear it, but I tell you, I forgot the last few times. So, and with winning number 25 and everything tonight in the record, so extra special for us, that's for sure.
Now, of course, you've had a great year, not only here, but at Brockville and Cornwall, but more importantly, this is 25, but you're now the all-time single-season win record holder. How's it feel?
Well, it feels pretty good. It's certainly a credit to the team. We've got a great bunch of guys behind us, right from Carl and on down to the crew guys. It's just a great team effort. And, I couldn't be prouder of him.
I had another new sponsor jump on board. We were talking about this earlier. Kerry Trance has jumped on board with you as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, Kerry's going to help us out a little bit, as well as Aaron and Bungo. Obviously, we got CMB Enterprise, the Sunrise Racing, a whole bunch of people, and it's certainly a pleasure to drive for these guys.
Absolutely. Now you got your crew behind you and all these other guys to thank as well.
Yeah, it's certainly a real good season this year, especially with 25 wins. Spread them out at, I think, 4 or 5 different tracks. Certainly the way to go.
Absolutely, Chris. Win number 12 a year. Let's keep it up, bud.
All right, thanks, Tim.
Win number 12 for Chris Ravi. And Bill, back upstairs to you. We got their car
3 of Ryan Jacobs. That was 77 of Dale Plank earlier up in the field. The 6 of Melvin Rush, the 19T of Tim Fowler, and the 3 of Derek Martin complete your field. Green is out. We are modified racing here in the 358 modified main event.
Yeah, we couldn't barely hear you when you were...
Modifieds are 3 wide as they come flying out of turn number 4. Leading the way, the X1 of Gardner Stone, 71 of Delaware Grove, 12 of Clayton Bennett, 35 of Mike Pirati, running out the top 5, the number 4 of Jeff Sykes from there on back. It is anybody's race as the field scrambles. Delaware Grove and Gardner Stone putting on a great battle up front.
And how about Delaware Grove, that 71 machine battling side by side with yet another veteran, Gardner Stone on the top side. And the Grove is going to take the 71 to the number 1 spot down the back straightaway. Here comes Jeff Sykes, a former track champion here, diving to the inside of that number 4. He goes to 4th past Pirati and Tommy Jock Jr. as he worked down the front straightaway. And lap number 3, it is the earlier leader, Gardner Stone, Clayton Benedict, Jeff Sykes, and Jock Jr. completing your top 5 as Mike Pirani and Ben O'Brien, 2 former track championship winners here, sit back there 6th and 7th, followed by John Lazore in the number 19. Then comes the laser, Laura Lannister, and 9th, Dale Plank completes the top 10. As we work in lap number 4, and Jeff Sykes is on a mission in that Warrior Racing number 4 machine. He right there with the Grove as they come off of turn number 4.
Jeff Sykes advancing through the field, talking to him tonight in the polo. He was all smiles. He says, I love running back modifieds here at Mohawk each and every week. And now Sykes up to the runner-up spot and about to try and reel in Delaware Grove. The field's starting to string up lap traffic coming into play as Melvin Rush is about to go a lap down to Delaware Grove, your current leader.
As lap number 6 is up on the board, Melvin Rush trying to get to the top side to get out of the way of the leaders. As the Grove and Sykes working from the front of the field in spots 1 and 2. Tommy Jock has cleared Gardner Stone by about a quarter straightaway. He's back to that 3rd spot. It's Gardner Stone, Clayton Benedict, your top 5. Ben O'Brien in the number 6 trying to get on by and get around Clayton Benedict to get to the front of the field. He rides at 6 and he's alongside Benedict right now in turn number 2. And he's going to drag race Benedict down the back stretch into 3. And John Lazore right there behind him in spot number 6. Here comes Laura Lannister and Dale Plank, 7th and 8th. 9th is Dave Hayslip. Todd Stone completes the top 10, and Kerry Torrance has broken a front end on the twin leaf number 66. And I'll tell you what, he got top 12 right there, so we'll see what happens.
Green is on the speedway. We are back underway. Jeff Sykes goes to the high side. Sykes and the Grove putting on a great battle for the lead. Tom Jock Jr. in the mix again, battling for 3rd spot. Sykes will pull ahead as he goes into 3 and 4. LeGros running that low line very well. Out of turn number 4, Jeff Sykes will take the lead and will lead lap number 9.
Todd Stone and Laura Lannister get to know one another a little better as they headed off turn number 4. Made huge contact with each other, but Todd Stone wins out on that battle. He's going to go by his father, Gardner Stone, to pick up the number 8 spot. So Todd Stone on a mission in that number 1 X machine.
And Todd Stone has established himself as one of those guys who can really do those mid-race charges very well. A lot of guys try to and hold on. In the modifieds, it's hard to pick up spots, but Todd Stone has shown week in and week out he can pick up a bunch of spots in heavy traffic here at Mohawk.
Former track champion Jeff Sykes coming down the front stretch. And something has gone amiss on the number 4 machine as he slows to the outside of the speedway. You saw when he came out with turn number 4, the car just quit on him, and he is moving very, very slow down the backstretch. Very uncharacteristic of Jeff Sykes to have this happen to him. And he is going to pull a stop on the back straight.
Grove jumps to the lead. Tom Jock Jr. immediately settles into the inside lane, gives up that outside spot, and that's going to open the door for Dale Plank. You know, Tom Jock, he thought he was doing a great job by moving to the inside, but that's opened up the outside lane. That's where Dale Plank wants to be, and Plank powers to 2nd spot.
And he is not done there. He is going to go to the top side once again to get around Delaware Grove. And quite handily, might I add, takes away the number 1 spot and starts to open up a lead on LeGros, who runs in the number 2 spot. It's Tommy Jock holding on the 3rd. Johnny Lazar holds on to spot number 4. Pat O'Brien completes the top 5. And Barry Francis right now is cranked into that top 10. Very important that he picks up as many spots as he possibly can to gain more points on Kerry Terrance, who is out for the evening in that 66 machine. Terrance rides in that 9th spot. Lattiser and Benedict and Hesup all in that mix as well.
Todd Stone advances by Pat O'Brien. Stone's car looks very fast as he's running on the back bumper of Jock and on the inside of John Lazar. Todd Stone looks like the driver that looks like he can advance through the field. His car is very quick at this point in the race. Still nearly 10 laps to go. And Jock make contact.
Absolutely major contact on the front stretch, and John Lazar's car looks very tight through turns 1 and 2, but Jock battles right back to the inside. What a great battle going on for 3rd. They made heavy contact here on the front stretch, but John Lazar looks like that car might be a little bit better right now as he powered to the top side and he goes to 3rd. Tim Fuller and Ryan Jacobs have headed pit side as well, but Dale Plank, I'll tell you what, Bill, he is checking out on everybody here.
Well, Dale Plank has been so quick. He finished 3rd here a week ago, had a win earlier this year. Plank, he really loves running here at Mohawk. He's always one of the guys to beat. Plank now pulling away from Del LeGros, John Lazar, Tom Jock Jr., and Todd Stone. That's your top 5. Plank has nearly a straightaway lead. And now the only thing that's going to help second on back is a big old caution, because right now Dale Plank has a huge lead over the rest of the field on that show red. Then they get the caution as Pat O'Brien slow out of turn 4. Pat O'Brien something wrong. Oh, back up on the pace. Maybe the car just jumped out of gear because he slowed suddenly, but now he's back up to speed.
Sounds like the car was sputtering just a little bit as he come down the front straightaway, and he is moving very slow once again. Mike Pirani and all that mix did pull off the racetrack as well, and O'Brien is headed pit side with the number 6 machine, and a tough break for Pat. 2-time track champion here in 89 and 92 heads to the pits, done for the evening as Dale Plank is not done yet. He rides in that number 1 spot with 4 laps to go. Good battle for 2nd as John Lazar powers to the outside of LeGros to pick off that spot as they run through 1 and 2 and down the back straightaway. All this happening behind Plank, who this kind of reminds you of opening night of May the 7th, Bill, when he checked out on the rest of the field and went to his first win of the season.
Plank heavily has this race well in command with 3 to go. Laurent Lattiser stops in turn 3, and that will drop the caution, setting up a 3-lap shootout.
As Perry Francis, who's in a good spot to gain a lot of points on Kerry Terrance for that track title. Green flag flies. We'll see if John Lazar can do anything with Dale Plank now as they head through turns 1 and 2. Plank steady and smooth on the bottom side of the speedway. John Lazar is just a little bit quicker as LeGros and Jock get into one another on the backstretch. Todd Stone jumps up to 3rd. Dale Plank now with that lead. He stretches it out just a little bit, and Tommy Jock gets into LeGros one more time. Keeps his foot in, and he stays on the racetrack, though. We stay green. 2 more laps to go. And all this has allowed Dave Hesup to get on by to pick up that 4th spot. LeGros falls to 5th. Clayton Benedict, Roy Delorme 6th and 7th. Here comes Perry Francis in a charge in that number 8 spot. Todd Stewart is 9th. Pierre Dagenet completes the top 10. White flag is in the air. And Dale Plank looking pretty strong down the backstretch. He's got about a 7-car length lead on John Lazar. And for the first time since May the 7th of this year, on opening night, Dale Plank will go back to victory lane here at MIR. John Lazar 2nd, Todd Stone 3rd, Dave Hesup, Roy Delorme completes the top 5, Delbo LeGros 6th, Clayton Benedict 7th, Perry Francis jumps up to 8th.
Number 77X of the Raceway from Cleveland, New York. Gets a second flag and a congratulatory handshake from Chief Starter Austin Swamp. As he takes a moment to collect his thoughts, the fireworks going off up in turn 1. And ladies and gentlemen, he is out of the parkour.
top, third place last week, second win of the season there at Mohawk. Car was wicked fast tonight. Yeah, the car was real good. I learned quite a bit from last week, and I was just hoping to give the boss a run for his money, but I see something happened there. But at least one of us brought it home, and I'm real happy to be here back in Victory Lane again.
Well, and Kelly has been quick to credit you on helping with the setups on the car and the shock packages. Seems like the team has really come together since you and Kelly have teamed up. You guys have been unstoppable whenever you've been racing. It's got to make you guys feel great going into the Super Dirt Series race a few weeks out. A lot of big races for the 358s in the next few weeks.
Yeah, definitely. We're just going to try to take this momentum and carry it as much as we can. And Kelly's come a long ways with his driving, and I'm getting better with the setups here. And we just look forward to bigger and better things in 2011 and in years to come, I hope.
Well, also, I'm sure taking interest in your son's car. He's running the Sportsman here, looks real good in the Sportsman. And it seems like you guys are really things are coming together for the whole race team.
Yeah, it's just awesome, and when you have good runs like this, it's also a lot of fun. And I don't know if he's going to beat Robbie anytime soon, but.
Well, he's getting closer.
Yeah, he's getting closer.
Okay, any other sponsors, crew members around the front tonight?
Definitely Twin Relief Tobacco and Gas, and Kelly for sure for fielding this whole deal, and Drek Subs, and just my crew, Matt and Rich, and my boy Steve, and just a lot of hard work pays off.
Okay, Don Payne, second win of the season. Congratulations.
The 6 of Owen White, the 2 of Trevor Jones, the 14 of Jason Kreitz, Andrew Fish in the 2AF, the B8R, Brad Fish, Joseph Barnes in the number 12, the 30 of Thunder Anderson Jr. completes the field.
And far right into turn 1 again. And Joey Foster, Scott Mayer battling side by side for the lead. Derek Colbert joins the fray. 3 cars battling for the top spot. Looks like Joey Foster is going to lead him out of turn number 4 for the first lap.
As they head down the front straightaway, I tell you what, Derek Colbert is right there with Foster as they head down the back straightaway this time. Foster on the top side, Derek Colbert down low. Foster gets a little bit loose. Here comes Colbert after him down the back stretch into turn number 3. And this could get pretty interesting here as we've seen Joey Foster earlier this year just get out in front and run away with things.
Not anymore.
Not anymore is right. I tell you what, the field has caught him tremendously out here, but Colbert fighting that car on the top side of the speedway. Foster pushes up the racetrack right in front of him, and I tell you what, Joey's making that car very, very wide here in the early going.
Well, Foster's got track position, but as you can see, the car is wobbled a lot in the turns. Colbert's car runs the high line, which is the longer way around. He's trying to maintain his momentum, so he's given up a little bit of distance to Joey. But Foster's car seems to be sliding around the track. Colbert now drops back about 3 car lengths. Looks like Joey Foster settling in up front.
And I tell you what, when Joey Foster comes by, listen to the sound of this car. Sounds a little bit different than the other ones. And I don't know whether it's hindering him or helping him, but it seems to be helping right now as he is driving away from the rest of the field here. Derek Colbert has fallen back to second. Pete Tsunami coming up through the field. He's up to third now. Bennett White fourth, and Nolan Swamp does complete your top 5.
And Andrew Fish goes behind the billboards.
Back out.
Not the first time we've seen that this year, but it never fails to impress.
Oh, absolutely. He created some mystery as the first bandit driver to do that. Roy Tarbell was the very first driver to ever do that, and Colbert gets way upstairs. Brings it back down in front of Pete Tsunami, and Tsunami would love nothing better than to run down that big yellow number 91.
Well, and that's going to open the door for Tsunami to challenge Colbert for the runner-up spot as we're just past the halfway point.
6 in, 6 more to go. Now make it 5 more to go for Joey Foster. Love nothing better than to get back to victory lane. He's been absent for the last month or so, which has been a little bit of a beneficiary for a lot of drivers. They've been able to close a lot of points on him. Pete Tsunami now has gotten by Colbert for the runner-up spot as Thunder Anderson Jr. gets a little out of shape in turn number 4. And a good battle going on right now for 4th, 5th, and 6th as Nolan Swamp, Bennett White, and Owen White get after each other down the front stretch.
Actually, a good battle for fourth spot. Nolan Swamp leading Owen White and Bennett White. And as Tim pointed out, really good battle. They were running 3 wide down the front stretch, although they are starting to string out. Looks like Bennett White off the pace. Scott Mayer gets by him for the 6th spot.
And coming down into turns 1 and 2 down the back straightaway, Foster has got quite a lead out there on Pete Tsunami. We'd love nothing better than to see a caution and try to close in on Foster.
Big trouble on the back stretch. As Tim Anderson got sideways, Nolan Swamp tags him. Owen White hits Swamp, and that brings out the caution.
Just what Pete Tsunami like. Joey Foster, Pete Tsunami 1 and 2. Look at Tsunami pull right up to the back bumper. Joey Foster, they're under green. And 2 more laps left to decide this one. Derek Colbert going back to the top side of the speedway to try to get around Tsunami for that runner-up spot. And Tsunami's able to hold off the challenges as he works down the back straightaway. Now 2nd and 3rd start to close in on Joey Foster. White flag will be out this time. Bill setting up for a good finish.
A 1-lap dash to the checkered flag. Joey Foster getting some pressure from Pete Tsunami and Derek Colbert. This could get real interesting on the final lap as Joey Foster not pulling away easily from Tsunami. Tsunami half a car length back as they go into turns 3 and 4. Through 3 and 4, out of turn number 4, leading the way, Joey Foster will get the win. Pete Tsunami comes on 2nd, Derek Colbert 3rd. Owen White 4th, Scott Mayer rounds out your top 5. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, 10 Cent Green will be... And here he comes down into victory lane. We are going to go down trackside with Tim Bolts. As Joey Foster captures another checkered flag here in the Bandit Division to wrap up tonight's racing program here at Mohawk International Raceway.
Check. There we go. Can you turn it down just a little bit?
How's that, Tim?
A little bit more. There we go. That's a round of applause for win number 10 of 2010 for Joey Foster. And Joey, we missed you the last month or so down here. Good to see you back in victory lane. Car looked pretty strong.
Car was real strong tonight. I don't know, I couldn't ask for anything better. I don't know how it was behind me, but felt good in the front this time.
I won 9 races going into tonight, and of course the struggles the last couple of weeks. How does that work into your mind? You know, you've been out of the winner's circuit for the last few weeks. What's going through your mind as the rest of the season starts to wind down?
Our main goal, you can't win them all. Our main goal is to keep finishing and try to finish in the front now. Tonight was an important win for me. My mom goes on Monday to have an aneurysm fixed, and this win was for her.
So very important to get back in victory lane, and I know you got a ton of people right here and a ton of people on the car to thank too.
I want to thank my pit guy, Nick Burke, who helps me a lot. Thank Prima Bellas, they helped me out with the Potsdam tire and road decal for the weather. And we haven't had our chance yet. We want to give our condolences to the Watts family. Your dad was good to us and always treated us with respect. We have our respect for you guys to keep coming back.
Well, congratulations, Joey. Win number 10 of the year. Let's keep this great season going.
Thanks.
Win number 10 of the year for Joey Foster. And Bill, back up to you.